Good evening, everybody. September 11th, 2021. An emotional day for all of us here in the United States. Obviously, this is the 20-year anniversary of the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center. And so just want to take a moment and remember all of the lives that were lost that day before we get into the price action here. All right. So Bitcoin today, it came into this red box that I had drawn here for resistance for our C wave in that region there. So we then did reject and we've broken below this B. So there are two possibilities at this point that I see. And first possibility is, of course, that this is it as far as retrace goes, and we just continue coming down here. That would pretty much be confirmed by a break of that low there at about 44.1. If that breaks, I will expect further downside and potentially an acceleration into the downside, because that would be putting us into the third wave then. The other possibility is that this ABC here is simply the A wave in a larger ABC, and we just sort of bottomed out here in the B wave, so it could be A, B, and C up a little bit higher, maybe to about 46.6, somewhere in that region, before coming down. And the region that we need to watch, that we need to break in order to get rid of the bearish scenario, is this high right here at 47.4. So that's still sort of the line in the sand for the bulls, and then this low over here is the line in the sand, I think, for the bears to break. So those are my two expectations, though, are either, maybe we get a little bit higher here with Sunday price action before dying, or potentially we just die from here. That's my primary expectation at the moment based on the price action that we're seeing, but I will have to reevaluate that, of course, if we break that 47.4. So that's pretty much all I have to say on Bitcoin for tonight. Not really too much else to add. Let's take a quick peek at the daily, though, before. So we've been looking for this to retest. We still haven't made it down there. So again, kind of leads me to believe that maybe there's some further downside left, because I think this RSI wants to retest here. But again, of course, if 47.4 breaks, then we can reevaluate that. And this sort of primary scenario that I have here, where this is 1 and this is 2, then we can just go up from here. If we drop down further, we'll just be resetting 2. It does not change my bullish outlook as the primary scenario, even if we come down here into the 30K region. If we broke down below 35-ish, especially if we broke down below this green trend line and broke down below that RSI trend line, I would have to kind of reconsider the uber bearish scenario, which, let's just go over that real quick, I have on this chart here. So in the uber bearish scenario, this action here was all an A wave, this action here was all a B wave, and we've got one more C wave down, which could lead us as far down as 19, potentially. So that would happen with a rejection somewhere in this region. So even if we break 47.4, to be honest, it could still lead to this unless we break a new high here. So that's kind of putting the horse before the cart at the moment. But I do want to point out how similar this region looks to right before the COVID dump. If we come back here, I think I made this comparison before. We had, really big, nice bull pump up from the lows up to that 14,000 area. We broke above, or like we retraced down and then broke above the 50 and the 200 on the daily. And then we promptly crashed down in that COVID dump. And it kind of looks similar here as far as where the MAs are. We had a nice big run up. We broke below the MAs, broke back above them, and we're kind of in the process of breaking down below them again. So if the same thing happens, we get a little price action right here around where these MAs are, but it does look kind of dangerously close to that. So this is certainly a scenario that we need to keep in mind as a possibility. Now, that being said, this was sort of a black swan event. I don't think anybody really expected that giant stock market crash. It was driven by outside factors and all that. But at the same time, we could certainly see that again. New lockdowns or vaccine passports or whatever could certainly dump all of the markets and give us a nice violent dump, just like we had in the COVID dump previously. So anyway, keep that in mind. It's not my primary scenario, like I said, at the moment. We'll have to keep watching this price action though and see if we get any clues that would indicate that is the most likely scenario, and we'll go from there. In the meantime, I am sitting in 50% cash after I stopped out at 50,800 earlier, so I do have plenty of ammunition for whatever happens down below, if we just get into like the high 30s, or if it wants to really go deep and get into that like $20,000, $19,000 range. I feel like I'm prepared for that as well with the amount of cash that I have on hand. So sitting in that cash until price action tells me one way or the other what we're going to do. All right, that is it now, I believe. Tomorrow morning is the weekly live stream for members. Got a whole bunch of assets I'm going to go over, and I just added a couple extras as well that I'm going to be going over here. So going to go over Luna, CHZ, and I added, KSM as well. So I'm going to go over the charts for each of those on the weekly live stream tomorrow. So make sure you're signed up, members.tradelikeawhale.com, and you can get access to that 2-week free trial, and you'll get access to that live video tomorrow. All right, good night, everybody.